Happy Sunday, y'all. Hope you're all amazing and fabulous and really thoroughly enjoying the weekend. I know I am and have been. It's been a really awesome day. So just dropped the pre-work, the first pre-work for those who are coming through the Queen Code that we start officially on Thursday. But there was some stuff that came up in the pre-work that I thought would be really helpful for you guys as well in just your normal everyday life and in some thinking. So as we all know, we are incredibly intelligent people. We're gifted, we're masters at what it is that we do, we're leaders, we're coaches, we're mentors, we are people who change the shape of other people's worlds. And because of our extreme level of intelligence, we are also incredibly clever, and we are incredibly clever at second guessing, I would suggest, and also kind of sabotaging, I suppose. One of the ways that I used to be in a long time ago was I was like, I'm not a morning person. I hate getting up early. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And I would feel like it was a freaking massive effort to be able to get up and get out of bed in the morning. Not like at a normal time, like maybe 7:30, but any time before that was like nobody should have their eyeballs open before that. That's just crazy. So consequently, I was happy, it was good, it worked really well for me throughout that period of my world and throughout that period of my life. But when we make decisions around what it is that we actually want to create and what it is that we actually want to build, there's usually some new disciplines that we need to implement and change within our daily habits, within our daily practices. Now, for me, one of those things is getting up earlier, because I really love walking every single morning before the kind of like the day even commences. I love doing it. I love walking with my husband. I love walking with my kids if they're up. On the weekends, it's a little bit later because #weekends, but through the week, I'm really committed to getting up and out and getting in the air, getting grounded before the whole day starts. Now, that requires, number one, it actually requires you making a decision and a commitment to you. And I think regardless of whether it's a morning walk, whether it's journaling, whether it's blogging, whether it's exercising, whether it's communicating, whether it's answering emails, whatever it is, I mean, even if it's you want to write a book, whatever it is that you want to do, if you want to create something different in your world to what you are experiencing right now, it's really important that you're taking different actions. Because as we know, if you keep repeating the same things that you have done day in, day out, week in, week out for the last however long, you are going to keep getting the exact same result. Hey, Carol, nothing is going to change. Your income won't change, your physicality won't change, your spirituality won't change, your knowledge won't change, nothing will change. If you wanted to go and learn to be a doctor, right? This is a big assumption. I'm assuming that most of you are not qualified doctors in the audience today. So let's say that you wanted to be a doctor and you were just like, right, I'm going to be a doctor. This is what it is that I need to do. This is my life's calling. I've got to go and learn how to be a doctor. You would enroll in college or university. You would commit to not only paying the fees associated with it, you would commit to buying the educational paraphernalia that's associated with it. You would commit to going to lectures. You would commit to studying. You would commit to doing the work that needed to be done in order to achieve that qualification. So why do we, as very clever, smart, intelligent human beings, not make that same level of commitment to ourselves if we want a change in health, if we want a change in clarity, if we want to change in income, if we want to change in creativity? So the first thing is around really making a choice and a decision around what it is that you want to create. What's the result that you want? Yep, and then committing to a daily practice. And I suppose this is the thing that I was talking about in the Queen Code. You really having everything that you want in your queendom. You really having everything that you want in your world, in your life, in your health, in your relationships, in your money, in your business requires you to fully commit to doing what it takes in order to get what it is that you need to get done. That means that you're going to have to put some time aside throughout your day, every day, to be able to implement that. Yep. So to be able to build and learn those new habits, for you to be able to build and learn out the stuff that you need to learn, for you to be able to implement and start practicing and start playing with in order for you to get the learning under your belt and make things actually happen. Things don't just happen automatically. So one of the things that I decided is that I was going to walk every morning come hell or high water, even if it's raining. If, it can be raining and we just we take our umbrellas and we wear our puffer jackets. Come hell or high water, we walk every morning, unless I have a massive anxiety problem and I'm away. That's a bit of a different story. As an aside, on Friday, I woke up in Sydney and I was staying in an apartment that I don't normally stay in an area that I don't normally stay in. And I was taking a look at Google Maps and I'm like, well, I could walk around there, but I'm really unfamiliar. I didn't have time the day before to kind of work out where things were and where I was and everything else. I was like, I'm just going to work out in the apartment rather than actually walking out in there. So that's the only time generally that I don't walk in the morning. Now, I was forced with a bit of a choice and a decision to make earlier this year. My husband has to start work earlier in the mornings at the moment, and he needed to leave earlier. So I could have just stayed in bed and then gone for a walk as he's left or whatever. But we decided to go for a walk before he actually goes to work, before the kids are up. So me being a self-confessed not morning person in the past, getting up at like 5:30, some days 5 o'clock, to go for a walk in order to be able to clear the space and really set my day up for success. When I come home, that's when I work out pretty much straight away. I do some energy work. I do my journaling. I get the kids up for school and then I take them to school from there. Where I'm going with this though is that I created this little pocket of space, pocket of time by sacrificing, I suppose, or trading out a little bit of extra time in bed, and I love my bed. Trading out a little bit of extra time in bed for doing the stuff that I know is going to set my day up for running as smoothly and in the most aligned way humanly possible. The other thing that you need to be aware of is that there will be times where you get these temptations to not follow through on things like this. So, after a month of doing it, it kind of gets a little boring. That after that first rush of new habits, new thinking, your body starts to change, your thinking starts to change, your brain's being rewired, and it can be a little bit like, it's like changing the way you eat, right? And then you get tempted by the sugar in the fridge or the chocolate, or you know what, I'll just eat that packet of chips and it's not going to make a difference, or I'll just have that champagne when I know the consequences and the side effects of that are never going to be good. Yet that usually happens after that thrill of really nailing a new routine kind of wears off. So you've got to really be incredibly diligent. You've got to be really disciplined to follow through and to keep going and to keep doing the thing. Now, I know that some of you have got babies, you've got young children, you've got older children, you've got parents that you need to look after, you've got other responsibilities, and sometimes getting up earlier, it may not be a viable option. So just carve out a bit of time and space in your day at an alternative time, but make it a rock in the diary that's an old corporate Westpac saying from when I worked there for 12 years. What's the rock in the diary that is immovable, that is unshakable, that no matter what happens in that block of time, this is what you're doing? Now, you might be tempted to not do it in that time. You might be tempted to go and schedule something different in there. You might be tempted to just go, oh, you know what, I'm just going to pass today. It's not going to make a difference. It will, and it does. One thing that I suggested to one of the queens this morning was perhaps what you could do, she's got 2 young children, said maybe what you do is you get up at 5:30 anyway. She said the kids usually get up anywhere between 5:30 and 7 a.m. So why don't you get up at 5:30 regardless? It might mean for me, I have to turn off my phone earlier. Turn off the Netflix, turn off the Foxtel, the pay TV off my phone that I usually watch while I'm lying in bed, and actually go to sleep a little bit earlier in order to get up at 5:30 or 5. So get up at 5:30. And if the children get up at 6, then that's great. You've got half an hour you've got a bucket of time for you to be able to do the highest priority thing that you could possibly do within that time. And then the other things that you want to do can get slotted into a later time throughout the day. You might also find that your kids are done, everything is done by 8 o'clock at night, and you might give yourself an hour to an hour and a half at night to really practice on whatever it is that you need to learn. If you were studying medicine, hour and a half at night, you would find the time, you'd find the space. Your business, your marketing, your content creation, the communication that you have with your audience, the relationship building that you need to undertake with your audience requires the same level of commitment in a pocket of time as it does as if you were studying medicine. You're not going to be able to get that medical degree if you're not studying and committing to the daily practice and the daily learning of you doing that, right? So this stuff is just as important, and it requires just the same amount of attention, the same amount of commitment, the same amount of discipline, the same amount of passion, the same amount of drive, even when the passion kind of wanes or the shine wears off, or the drive wears off just a little bit. You've got to keep coming back to, well, this is what I've committed to and I've got this space. Nothing is going to interfere. So the big lesson for you for today is to create a container of space for you to be able to do what it is that you need to do in order to make everything else flow, in order to make everything else in your world, your life, your business, your marketing, your health, your social life, everything, your money, to make everything just flow really, really nicely. So that is that for today. Now, there are things that might come up because, that's what happens. There might be things that come up that kind of have you thinking, well, actually, maybe this isn't working for me. So the thing that I really, really want you to do is practice a high level of discernment. I want you to practice a high level of self-awareness and ask yourself, well, is this actually not working? Or has just the shine of this new thing worn off just a little bit, right? Am I just not fully invested the way that I was early on at the start? Because that can be a really big thing as well. If you're starting to go to the gym and you might find that the first 3-4 weeks you're just like pumped and you're like, yeah, I'm there every morning. I go every night. I go to these classes. I start to I'm feeling really strong. And then month 2, it's kind of like, I wrote a post yesterday. It's a little bit like the snake in the Garden of Eden, or the dark side, or the villain, or your shadow self. It's like, you know what? It's not actually really making that much of a difference. Maybe you don't need to do it. I want you to practice a really high level of self-awareness, because that temptation, and that's what it is, that temptation to take your foot off the pedal, the temptation to second guess, the temptation to ease back a little bit is your shadow side. That's really a classic self-sabotage thing. So I want you to be really super aware of that. And then if you find it coming up, work out what the heck it is that's going on. I've been doing this recently, and one of the things that I've been noticing is that I'll go you guys know I'm well known for being a bundle of energy and for being an Energizer bunny and, you know, la 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 la. But there are some days where I'm just like, meh, I don't, you know, this all feels a little bit too easy. Or, you know, there's got to be more things going on here. Like, it can't just be all, you know, whatever. So be super aware of anything that might be coming in, any little self-talk, any doubt, any sabotage, and nip it in the bud and work out what the heck it is that's going on. Because if you are creating the space for this to happen and you are being diligent around doing the work that needs to be done, doing the things that are going to set yourself up for success, then they are the things that you're going to have to keep doing even when they're no longer bright and shiny. So don't sabotage it is where I'm going with that. So that's us for today. I talked a little bit about this. I talked in a lot more detail about this in the pre-work of the Queen Code and how to really do this. So if you are curious about that, you can find out more. I've popped the link in the comments there. We start officially on Thursday, the 14th of February. However, you can jump in there now. There's 2 levels. I've made the payment options for this so easy and achievable so that anybody, whether you're in any type of business, you can access this and achieve great success throughout this process. So go and check it out. Have a really amazing and awesome Sunday. If you have any questions, reach out, ping me, message me, email me, whatever it is that you need to do. And let's get ready to really just drop into that queen energy, create the space for you to be able to create what it is that you want in the way that you want and command your life and your world to unfold in the way that you freaking deserve. I'll talk to you soon.